wanted to give you a run through of how I refinish this table here. I'm gonna segue to another video where I'm starting the repair of gluing it together. So let's go ahead and go to this other video, and thanks for joining me. Welcome back. While you're gone to the magic of movies, we tighten this up with a strap here and then put clamps to the center as well as support beams to help the wood from bending under the supported load. So we'll let this glue dry here in the seams overnight and come back tomorrow and see where we're at. So here's the glue after it dried. There's probably a couple areas that I should fill in addition, but I'm pretty anxious to get to sanding, so that's what we're going to do. And got this belt sander here. It's a 3-inch Montgomery Ward belt sander. So this has got some pretty big gouges in it. Normally I would start sanding at 120, but if you can see right here, we got some pretty big chunks out of there. So we'll probably go down a little bit. .50 grit's gonna be too low. That's all I got. That's what we'll do. So I'm gonna do a couple passes overlapping with this belt sander. Or probably a lot more than a couple passes because this is pretty rough. But we'll get that done and be back, see what we're dealing with. Sanding this with my belt sander, 50 grit, doing a whole lot of passes and using probably about 4 different belts, sanding this down. I got a finish that I'm happy with. After that I took my orbital sander and went with probably about 60 grit on most of this. Just to kind of finish it out a little bit. Then it came up to 120, 220 with the orbital, and then finally hand sanded 220 to finish it off here. And then made sure to round the edges here with successive grits of sandpaper as well. Gonna get ready to clean this off here with some rubbing alcohol, just to get the final little bit of dust off there. And so, as you can see, this portion here is still drying that I rubbed on there. So I think we should be ready to go. Next, we're going to dye this oak here a mission color, so getting a little darker. For that, I'll be using this Trans Tint Vintage Maple dye and mixing it with some denatured alcohol. I mix these and then use a rag to evenly put it on the top of the table. We'll be right back and see how that goes. I ended up putting about 15 drops of this trans tint to this glass jar here. And anytime that you mix a solution, you're going to want to test it on a practice piece of wood before going to your piece. And I did this on this piece of cedar to a tint that I was happy with, and then made my solution. Now we're going to apply this with this torn up t-shirt here as evenly as I can on the surface of this table. So after applying 2 coats of dye, we've got the finished product here. And there were a couple areas where there was some glue right here that when you lay the dye and rubbing alcohol over it, it darkens the glued areas there that I thought I sanded, but unfortunately didn't sand, and that came out when I dyed the piece. So I'm going to forge forward and see what it looks like after I put on this sealer here. This is a General Finish Sealacell oil-based clear. We're going to go ahead and apply that with some even strokes and see what we come out with. Got a foam brush here, about 1.5 inches. Just fits into the can. Just load the end third of the brush. Now you do 2 passes back and forth. Until I just see a little bit of streaking, then I load my brush again and continue. So we just review the process here. I've got the finished table and wife is inchworming somewhere in the screen. So I put on this sealer after first dyeing the piece, as we showed earlier in the video. I did 1 coat of this. You could have done 2 coats. After that I did a light sanding, which probably wasn't necessary, of 40-aught steel wool, and then put on 2 coats of this sealer with a foam brush. And this is the finished product that you have here for the table. I really like this amber tone here. So if you want any darker, you can always apply a gel stain before putting on the final coat like I did, but I like it like it was and left it. So we are done with the table now, and thanks for watching, and have a good woodworking experience. There's a camera lady right there. She's going to bang some heads, as camera ladies do from time to time. Oh geez.